what do you expect from this new project you have that I think will be different from everything that has been written in this industry?
Huge existential question. Good. You could have started with "How are you?" Instead it's just like, boom. Okay, straight into it. All right, yeah. Yes. I mean, what do I expect? I expect immense riches, not just in a financial sense, but in a spiritual sense. I really, I think it's important to believe in what you do. There comes a point, and everyone will reach a point where you start understanding the difference between working for a living and creating something that's purposeful and meaningful to you. And that can be, a higher ambition, or it can be something that's as simple as I just want to work with really good people, doing really good, interesting things with other people who are all invested in what they do, and and just create something exciting and interesting, and have a good time doing it. That's it. If that should be an ambition, and that should be something that that people can aspire to. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think this is, while we've come to that sort of later in our career journeys, I sort of feel that generationally, with technology, with everything that's happening in the world, people will come to that conclusion or that point in their lives probably sooner. And you'll see whether it's millennials or whatever, it's they're not entering work the same way that we did. And their expectations of what their relationship with work is. It's the same as mine compared to my father's relationship. My dad was you go, you work, you have to suck it up, and this is what you do, and because you have to provide, and you and this is what the world looks like. Mine would go, no, I actually want a little bit more from where I spend every day of my life. I want something back in return from that. It's not just selling your soul to the company store, right? And and I think but that's taken probably me a little while, because you've gone through that process. And we've all done that and come to that realization from a point of experience. Yes. But I think, what we'll see now is generationally, people can go, no, I don't conform to that. This is what work looks like to me. Because the world's not going to promise you anything, right? So you have to make that decision yourself, going, okay, well, would I rather be happy in a world that's providing me nothing, or would I rather be miserable in a world that's providing me nothing? It becomes a choice. And I think more people will make that choice of going, okay, well, how do I be somewhere that actually adds something to the value of my life?
That's great. So that's basically one of your key messages, making different happen, right, guys? In all things, not only related to the industry, but I guess not focusing on work or just getting money, just getting something out of it, if that's correct.
I think, yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, you can bring many things, the beauty of saying, make different happen is, there's no one interpretation that's right.
Yeah, of course.
We've come out of, organisation where, the definitions of things are very, very clear, and, this is what it means, and going well, that's not how people approach things. There's 8 billion people in the world, they're not going to all read the same thing and have the same, intuition, because it's built on their experiences, on where they've come from, where they want to go, and all of their cumulative life. This is what I take out of this, and that's great. That's what I mean. That would be a sign of success to me. That this is what different is to me. This is how making it is. But this is my contribution to that. It's fantastic.
Making different happen is kind of an umbrella thing, but it kind of feeds back into the re of ReMotive, and the re is really about rethinking, revisiting, reevaluating, and just kind of, hold on a minute, are we doing things in the right way? Could it be done in a different way? If we do it in a different way, will it be better? Not just financially, but in terms of what we do for clients and what we do with people, etc. It doesn't mean that we have to change things just because we want to change them. Take a breath and think twice about things and kind of look at them with a fresh perspective. The whole way agencies have been constructed over the last 20, 30 years is around scale, it's around volume. And that has implications when you own an agency, you know, and you're trying to compete against these monsters, huge big companies, but we're never going to have as many resources in terms of cash as they have, and they're acting as banks a lot of the time for clients. You get bigger and bigger, and then you need to get bigger because it's kind of a wheel that you get into. And really, for me, one of the key things here is the focus is not on volume, it's on doing things the right way and with the right people, rather than just growing for the sake of growing. Because that is kind of a dynamic which has been very common in many industries, and I think the whole world is kind of saying, hold on, growth thing. You know, it's better to think about small and beautiful and happy and profitable. But has anybody stopped to think if it's necessary anymore when things are connected now? I think we're in a different world, so it's worthwhile kind of looking at it afresh, really.
Things could be better, could be different, because we've seen how it was at the beginning. We all grown to senior positions, so we all could see as well like what clients really need, how we really can help clients, and we could see that at the existing structures you would never be able to do that. And we could talk a lot about it, or we can actually do it. And I think that's also one of the reasons when we said, like, okay, when we came together, we talked about our visions, and we all kind of got very quickly aligned on it, because it's like we all have the same frustrations. It's like, right, let's stop talking about it, let's make it happen. You know, we can do things better, and we can have more fun. We can do all these things. And on top of, but the most important thing is like we're going to help clients to do better things as well. And I think that really is it. Like, we're using our experience to create something that will be better for the clients, but also for the people that will be working with the agency, because you're going to do more interesting work.
You have an opportunity to do something differently yourself. You do it yourself, then actually go out and change it for yourself. And I think, you know, like our industry, like many others, particularly in an economic environment like this where there is so much uncertainty, I understand people are scared of this, right? It's like, you know, I need security, I need stability, I need this. You know, this is a jump into the unknown. But I think, you know, when we show that it can be done, you know, I think you'll see that there are many more people who really do think like this, you know, and who can, like, you know, and you know, it's a big step to go and do something different, because it is contrary to the way of, like, you know, this is what the industry's turned into, this is what you have to be. Go, and do you? Like, you know, sometimes you can say, no, you don't have to be like that. You know, it's not a binary race, I win, like, and you lose. And like, go, no, this is just like about how we develop a business, a bunch of people whose primary purpose is, you know, the work, doing it, and not margin and, you know, percentage growth rates, right? We're starting from a different position.
When everybody's doing things in a very similar way, that means that there's plenty of opportunities to be different, and you know, our belief is that there's going to be challenger brands, mainly, I guess, that do think that it's worthwhile trying to outsmart rather than outspend.
But I also think that in terms of big agencies or how the industry is now built, people work in silos. What do you think about how do you plan to do this in your own agency?
So for us, that word different really is not about just doing things for different sake, but it's really about we want different perspectives in terms of, like, you know, the people that come and work with us. So I think, yeah, for us, it's not just about, like, okay, what are your skill set, which obviously is important, but we can train people as well. But it's more important that we have the right people, and I think that will always be the first filter for us. Is like, is this person actually living, making dream different happen? Is he going to contribute to our promise that we're going to make different happen? If not, doesn't matter if that person is great at his job. Is like, that's not the right person for us. We need somebody who brings something more, and you know.
There's an element of curiosity, like, you know, if we're here saying, like, I want to share the why of what we're doing, you know, why are we actually working on this client? What are we trying to achieve? What's the objective? You know, I'm not putting you in a box to say you know, I'm going to tell you you have to do this and this is your role in this organisation. I'm going to show you the big picture, but you've got to want to be interested in that big picture, right? And not everyone is. And, like, you know, I mean, I know I used to run a team of 3,000 people, yeah. And, like, you know, and no matter how good I thought I was at building culture and building integration and collaboration, no matter how much I shared about what the vision is, you're never going to engage more than 20, 25% of that. And no matter what I try and do as like a CEO, I could never engage all those people because they see a reality of what their situation looks like. You know, the layers and layers of infrastructure, layers of process, and the fact that actually my job just consists of this. Now, you know, there's always going to be a problem with scale, and I think that's why, you know, you already touched on the silos, the specialization. That's necessary when like businesses get to, oh, we've got like 50,000 people work for us, right? Then you do process. But what you lose in each stage of growth, and it's incremental, by the way, like, you know, oh, you put another like, you know, silo in there because that's going to be a specialization now. That's going to be a specialization. When I started in this industry, I took a brief from a client. Like, you know, I did the strategy, I did the insight, I did like, you know, I did the buying, I did like, you know, I did the optimization, I then like did the reporting, and I presented that back to the client with insights, and then I did the process again. That process, while I wasn't expert or brilliant at every single one of it, it was a pretty seamless process. That same process now takes probably about 30 people to do. Now, of course, things are a lot more complicated than they were, and like, you know, in terms of channels and all the rest of it, I get it, but you've got boom, 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 like, you know, and then you need this workflow tool. Then you need like, you know, briefing forms, then like, you know, and you know what drops off on those briefing forms every time they go off? The purpose and like the vision of what you're doing. Why am I doing this? What's it for? You know, sometimes not even the brand, like you don't know because it doesn't matter anymore because you're so specialized in what you do, getting this bit of paper from here to here or getting that pixel from here to here, that's it. That's my job. Some people are just gonna go, I'm curious, I'm interested, and like, you know, this is like, and this fits my idea of what work looks like. You know? But the important thing as we keep growing is that we don't forget that. And go, no, you know what would be really good now? Let's put in a specialized team who like, you know, don't have access to anything else that we do, who just like we outsource to, and they're in, I don't know, Mumbai. I'm going, oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, because that will save us this amount of money. Now, all of those decisions that are made, and like, you know, we aren't here, you know, hammering big agencies and the decisions they made. They're the right decisions to be made for a publicly listed company whose interests are in like delivering growth to shareholders. Totally cool. That's how they work. We're the shareholders of this, right? You know, it's our choice to say, everyone sits together, whatever it is you do, and you all understand what it is we're trying to achieve together. Yeah. And every idea is equally valid that comes from everybody because you see that we're getting to this. If you say to me, you know what would be better? Like if we did like this, I'm going, fantastic idea.
Yeah.
We want to work like that, openly internally, but also outside, you know, with companies like Crimtan or other companies, because it's about people, and it's about people working towards one direction. The whole industry, we've been longing metrics and longing accountability, measurement. Now we've, I think, gone too far in measuring things, which it's good to know that that piece of the machinery is doing well, but what's going on with the rest of it?
That you guys care a lot about culture of your company. You always are on social media sharing knowledge. And how important is culture for your company?
You know, we come from a place of like neutrality when it comes to, you know, media, communications, whatever, like, you know, and ideas. For us, and I'm not saying, oh, we're this like incredible selfless white knight of a company, you know, but it is, you know, to us it's like going, you know, we have like total neutrality in this. You know, we are solution agnostic, we are data agnostic, we are like, you know, platform agnostic, because that's the only way you can be in like communications. You know, that isn't how the rest of the industry is developed. You know, so it's hard for them to say, oh, right, here's a really good insight about this. Because they're going, well, does that feed my purpose? And my purpose being, you know, do you have elevation of like returns to like my shareholders? And as I say, that's totally fine. That's the world, right? But for us, it's like going, well, I'm not tied to that. You know, it's like going, is this a good thing on Google or not? I'm going, well, I should have an opinion on this. And I can have an opinion on this because, you know, it's our opinion based on like total neutrality and total like, you know, visibility of the entire marketplace, entire ecosystem. This is how it impacts this is like, so I can have a balanced view on these sort of things. Not tempered by what would they think if I say that? Because if I say that, like, you know, that will actually affect our income, or it might affect my rebate, or it might affect like, you know, all of these things which are considerations if that is how your business is structured. For us, we're not. It's like going like, well, this is reality, you know, and I think that puts us in a very different position, and like, you know, and it really empowers us as well to be able to say, You should read this. Make your own mind up about it. I'm not telling you this because I want you to think like me. I'm telling you this because it's an open opinion, and you should have access to all sorts of opinions and make your own mind up about things.
When we write or we share thinking or knowledge, by no means we're saying that we know better. The idea is to share knowledge and people share back and improve upon what we share. We just want to look at things in a optimistic way and kind of reflect on our own experiences or things that we've learned or points of view, and have a point of view on things.
We've probably all been told to take things down from LinkedIn, this is contrary to your contractual terms of service. If you're like most companies now, they are so obsessed with just everyone having the same opinion, towing the company line. You can't actually do anything. Everything is anything you post, anything on your social and your personal channels, whatever, doesn't matter. That is what the corporate world looks like now, because they're so scared of bad publicity, so scared of upsetting somebody who is in their value chain, who creates money for them. And that becomes a problem, because then how do you challenge anything?
We share a lot of information, but also we want our people to kind of share information on LinkedIn. And I think if someone feels challenged about should I publish this, yes or no? If you feel like that, I think you're in the wrong place. If somebody shares something that I don't agree with, I'll have a conversation with that person and we can argue about maybe I need to change my opinion, but it's not up to me or up to a company at all, because why is somebody not allowed to have a different opinion than the business? I mean, that's how a business grows, right? Learning from each other. And I think that's something that you'll never see or hear from us, that whoa, you can't publish that, because that goes completely against our philosophy, and we can't make different happen if we're going to be like this.
I'll keep going to this sort of generational thing. That you can see through hypocrisy much quicker now. You go into most companies, go, oh yeah, we're built on foundations of challenge and provocation and but don't challenge me. And don't challenge our system, and don't do that. That is absolutely not how we work. Do what you're told, but of course, and we really challenge clients. No, you don't. You sell them the same things and everything else, and you are the furthest away from challenge. And you'll know these are things. There is a difference between putting a poster on the wall saying these are our core beliefs, and living those beliefs. Every company's got here's our beliefs. Going, oh, please. You can't be both things. You can't be authentic, and true to the ethos of what a corporate construct looks like. Yeah. These two things, they are mutually exclusive. You cannot be this person within that construct. It's just not possible. We can be true to that, and we can actually live and I don't need to have a poster on the wall to tell me that, right? Because
you see it every day. It's scribbled on the wall.
Yeah, here it's right.
It's
graffitied onto the wall, right? But you get my point.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. How would you define being a post-digital agency?
We are post-digital because before digital, when you bought a space of media, that space of media was well determined exactly which media partner or media publication or media owner really we want to work with, because they have the right audience and the right attitude in terms of brand. Then in that media publisher or media owner, we would look for exactly the right space, as in for example, page 5, because it's opposite this content, or TV would be exactly that spot. Or out of home is it needs to be that poster because it's facing these people that are coming from there and going to there. So there was a lot of craft being put into the actual media planning. With digital, things became more automated, and all of a sudden what we could see is a lot of the craft was being lost. And with post-digital, what we want to do really is bring back the craft of what went into planning before. So using the precision, but using it in a way that makes sense. And the combination of the craft and the good parts of digital, that for us is post-digital.
Specific example, video, right? It's not TV, it's video. And video happens in many platforms and channels. In the pre-digital world, a lot of work went into understanding a concept which is copy wear out. Understanding how many times do you actually expose somebody to a video before they get fed up of seeing that video, and companies would invest time and money in research and understanding When advertising becomes negative because it starts to get on people's nerves because they've seen the same concept or ideas too many times. Nowadays, you see the same video 3 times in the same place in one session. And nobody's thinking about, actually, that can be damaging for the brand because it's being annoying and intrusive and too repetitive. So why don't we address copy wear out across all the video channels now, the way we did before, understanding how many times a person should see that piece of creative before it has a negative effect. I've not heard anybody talk about copy wear out now for about 15 years. And it's important because I think we all agree that when you get the same video and you're forced to watch it, it's annoying and it's not doing any good for the brand. It's not about chasing people down with data that they don't know you're using and hammering videos into them whether they want to watch them or not. That's actually the opposite of what we want to achieve with advertising. I think bringing the best of the 2 worlds together, there's a huge opportunity to improve on the pre-digital thinking, which is more humanistic, and on the digital thinking, which is coming from technology.
When we side out, someone go, right, I've got $10,000. I want you to, to create an ad which is contextually works for me in an environment which contextually works. So you find the right magazine with the right audience, you put an ad there which is relevant to the content that people are seeing to create an engagement. And a client would only ever sign off going, okay, that makes sense, I understand that, you've done the work, you've done the planning, the audience is right, the context is right, the environment is right, yes, go for it. Objectives are covered, you understand our business goal, and our customers are going to really understand this. I sign off that plan. Right? That's what media used to look like in terms of planning and buying. Now you go, right, I've got that same $10,000. I'd like you to buy as many impressions as possible around some vague data signals which might suggest that this person is in market for this product. I just want you to buy as many as possible. So again, you don't care about the environment, the context, not at all. Just spend the money and deliver me as many of those impressions as you can. Going this is crazy. That's the remit you're giving to people. Yeah, just fill that funnel as much as you can. I want the CPM to be as cheap as possible because any sale is a good sale. Going, wow, okay. That might work for somebody, but it just seems to me so utterly alien to the concept of what marketing is in terms of creating experiences, in terms of creating value, in terms of a value exchange between customers and and brands and products and agencies.
That conversation when you just said is actually happening. The only thing is the craft is going into things that actually don't matter whatsoever and are not contributing. What are we trying to do here? Who's our audience? What are we trying to do? How are we going to do it? And then let's figure out how we actually going to bring this to life, and not kind of say, well, actually, let's really figure out where, which data, which is the actual ad, how we can personalize it, how can we make it more precise.
What that ends up doing is you're converting people who were already going to buy a product. There is no such thing as a new customer. The further you take this, you're never attracting new customers anymore. All you're doing is, this person was going to do this action anyway. I've just served them an ad on something they would have done, regardless of seeing that ad or not. Yeah? And I'm claiming that as a win. You've not brought any new customers in. You've not changed anyone's behavior. You've not actually engaged anyone in any way. You've just confirmed something that was always going to be there, and the client's paid for it. You haven't proved anything in that. All you've done is found someone who's already doing this action, and you've sent an ad to them. Yeah. That's craziness, no? I mean, you would be surprised how few people understand that conversation. So few people. You saw brands going, you do realise that this person would have done this anyway, right? No advertising, that person would have bought your product. You just basically paid for that person to buy that product who's going to buy the product anyway. How many people understand that?
Post-digital people.
But look, these are conversations. No one wants to have these conversations because that's how agencies get paid. Everyone gets paid on that same cycle. You're going, so to us it's going, well, we can have that conversation because that's not how I get paid. I want to share in bringing you new customers. I want to share in your profitability. I want to share in your growth. I don't want to share in going well done, I've seen a signal there and that person's about to buy something. Quick, send them an ad now so I can claim it as mine.
Thank you so much, guys.
Woo! Do we need to clap exit as well? No, sorry, no. Bye!